Chapter 2. Abdullah Muhammad, Servant of Allah. Abdullah Muhammad left Medina with his wife and young son on a long journey to Hadramaut in Yemen. The desert was harsh, water was scarce, and the sun beat down mercilessly. As they traveled south toward Oman, halfway there they encountered a caravan of traders also bound for Yemen. Grateful for the blessing, Abdullah thanked Allah and joined them. However, near Oman, the caravan took a wide detour around a stretch of desert. Abdullah was puzzled, as the detour would add several days to the trip. The caravan leader explained that they were avoiding the cursed ruins of Ad, a city destroyed by Allah for rejecting his prophet Hud, peace be upon him. And as for Ad, they were destroyed by a furious, violent wind which Allah imposed on them for 7 nights and 8 days in succession, so that you could see men lying overthrown, destroyed, as if they were hollow trunks of palm trees. Quran 69, 6-7. Caravans avoided the area for fear that Allah's punishment might touch them. Despite the delay, Abdullah's family enjoyed the safety and company of the caravan. Every night after Maghrib prayers, Abdullah gathered the children to tell stories of the prophets as his father once had. Adults, too, began to listen. One night, the whole caravan came to hear the story of Prophet Idris, peace be upon him. Prophet Idris, peace be upon him, was the 3rd prophet sent by Allah, Abdullah began, a grandson of Prophet Adam. Peace be upon him, Idris was the first person to use a pen. Born in Babylon, he left when the people refused to turn away from sin and migrated to Egypt with a group of believers. His followers asked, "If we leave Babylon, where will we find another place like this?" Idris replied, "If we make hujrath for the sake of Allah, He will provide for us." When they reached the Nile, they marveled at its beauty and cried, "Subhanallah!" The people prospered, built 88 cities, and lived with wisdom. Idris was known for his teachings. Be patient in obeying Allah's commands. Be patient in avoiding what Allah has forbidden. Be patient in the face of hardship. After Idris passed, Iblis once again misled the people into idol worship, and it was not until 1,000 years later that Prophet Nuh, peace be upon him, was sent. That night, the caravan slept soundly, reflecting on the wisdom they had heard. But the next morning, 2 camels had wandered off. After a long search, a tribesman retrieved them. When he asked who was watching the animals, the people said they had left them in Allah's care. He responded with a quote from Hadrat Ali, "Trust in Allah, but tie your camel." Allah gave us reason and responsibility, he said. Would you leave your child alone in the desert? Then why neglect animals in your care? Eventually, the caravan reached Sana'a in Yemen. Abdullah and his family said farewell and headed south to Hadramaut. Days later, they reached a barren valley with a small village. At the outskirts, Abdullah asked a villager the name of the area. "This is the Valley of Thud," the man replied. Overjoyed, Abdullah believed he had reached the land of Prophet Hud, peace be upon him, and praised Allah for guiding them. At the village well, 2 men stopped him. "Strangers aren't welcome here. Keep moving," they said. Abdullah politely asked for water for his child, but was refused. This deeply surprised him, as it defied the Arab tradition of hospitality. So the family moved on, hoping for another village. Shortly after, they heard children crying and followed the sound to a small hut. An elderly woman, frail and distressed, answered the door. Abdullah asked what was wrong, and she broke down. 3 young girls inside hadn't had food or water for 2 days. The villagers had ostracized her and denied her even water from the well. This reminded Abdullah of a story about his ancestor, Abu Bakr. When Abu Bakr was caliph, he would leave after Fajr prayer and walk far from his home. Omar, curious, followed him and saw him enter a house. After Abu Bakr left, Omar knocked and found a blind, elderly woman and children. She said she didn't know who the man was, only that he came every day to clean the house, cook, and care for them. Omar was humbled and realized he could never match Abu Bakr in righteousness. Abdullah was moved. His wife baked bread with the flour they had and fed the old woman and the girls. Abdullah traveled to a nearby village and brought back water. After everyone was nourished, he asked why she lived alone. Her story stunned him. Many years ago, a holy Sufi man and his companions came here in the middle of summer. The land was dry and barren, but he found a green-leaved bush and started digging. After much labor, water gushed out. The well became known as the Well of Thud. People settled here and lived by his teachings. Worship Allah alone, be righteous, care for orphans, the poor, and the traveler. The valley prospered. But years later, a nomadic tribe took over. They taxed the well, forcing people to pay for water. Some left. Others adopted idol worship. The old ways were forgotten. I am the last descendant of the holy man, and they believe if I die, the well will run dry. Abdullah asked, "Was this holy man not Prophet Hud? Peace be upon him?" The woman said she had never heard that name. She explained that the girls had been abandoned by the nomads, seen as burdens. She had taken them in. "My son works in a distant village and brings me supplies weekly, but it has been 2 weeks since I've seen him. I fear for other girls abandoned like these." Abdullah and his wife decided to stay until her son returned. Each day, Abdullah fetched water from the neighboring village and sold dates in the market. He told children stories of the prophets, which attracted many villagers who asked him about Islam. Gradually, they began praying with him and embraced Islam. In the old woman's village, the sound of the adhan intrigued people. The recitation of Quran drew them near, and after Isha, they would gather to ask questions. Despite the nomads' anger, superstitions about the well kept them from intervening, though they did double the water tax. One day, Abdullah saw a sickly horse digging in the dirt near the village. Remembering a story from his father, how Bedouins once followed their horses to water, he decided to dig where the horse had pawed. For 2 days, he found nothing. But on the 3rd morning, the bottom of the hole was wet. He called his wife, the old woman, and the villagers. They watched as water filled the pit. He asked them to let the horse drink first. After quenching its thirst, the horse neighed and galloped away. The villagers, amazed, asked what price he would charge for the water. "Nothing," said Abdullah. "It belongs to Allah. How can I charge for what I don't own?" He then shared the story of Uthman, who once bought half of a well from a Jewish man in Medina. Uthman made his share free for Muslims. Soon, the Jews' profits dried up, and he sold the remaining half. That well, the Well of Ruma, still serves people today. Abdullah's humility and wisdom won the villagers' hearts. Many converted to Islam, and the valley once again echoed with the teachings of Tawheed and righteousness. Abdullah remained in the valley of Thud for the rest of his life. His sons grew up, studied in Medina and Baghdad, and became scholars. Most made hijrath to spread Islam further. His youngest, Abdul Rahman, worried for his father's health and returned to care for him. Abdullah, smiling, recounted the same dilemma he had once faced and encouraged his son to trust in Allah and carry on the mission of their ancestors.